Your future self has been trying to get this message to you for a while now. Not because something bad is about to happen, but more like because she knows how easy it is to lose months of your life inside patterns that just feel normal while you're in them. And I keep getting this feeling from her like, if you could see what she sees now, you would stop doing one thing almost immediately. Not out of fear, but more like out of self respect, if that makes some sense. Because from where she's at, the cost became really obvious. So there are three messages here, three patterns, three things she wishes she understood sooner. And one of them has your name all over it. Don't overthink it. The first pile that pulls your attention, the one that feels drawn to you, that's the one that she has meant for you to hear, for you to listen to. Hi, welcome to Magnetic Soul. And today, your future self wants to show you something that she learned the hard way. Not to shame you, not to scare you, just to help you stop losing energy in places that were never going to hold you properly. So, take a breath for a second and choose the pile that your body reacted to first. Pile one is the crescent moon envelope. Pile two is the star envelope. And pile three is the candle envelope. Whatever pulled at you immediately, that's probably the one you should listen to. Of course, you could always listen to all three and choose what resonates with you the most. So let's begin. Okay, we are starting with pile one, the crescent moon. Your future self keeps showing me someone who learned how to disappear a little before they even entered a room. And I don't think you fully realize that you're doing it. It feels like automatic now on autopilot. Like somewhere along the way, you got used to preparing yourself for rejection before it even happened, preparing to be misunderstood, preparing to be too much, preparing to make other people feel comfortable first. So now, before the conversation even begins, part of you has already edited yourself down. You soften your opinions, you hold back your personality, you shrink your reactions, and you second guess your instincts. And your future self is being very honest about this. She says the hardest part wasn't that people rejected her, it was realizing how often she rejected herself first. That's the part that changed everything for her because she started noticing something. A lot of the fear that she carried into rooms never actually happened. Half the time, nobody was even judging her the way she thought they were. People were busy, people were distracted, people really are just thinking about themselves. Meanwhile, here, she had already made herself smaller before anyone even asked her to. Well, and over time, that became exhausting because when you keep showing people the watered down version of yourself, they can only respond to the version that you show them. Your future self says there were opportunities, friendships, conversations, and even some relationships that would have unfolded differently if she had walked in as her full, authentic self instead of the easier to accept version. And I think she really wants you to hear this next part. The right people are not overwhelmed by your fullness. The right people are not overwhelmed by your fullness. They are relieved by it. Because the people who are already meant for you do not need the smallest version of you to feel comfortable. They connect with the real you. I think part of your healing now is learning that you don't have to earn belonging by becoming less visible. You don't have to constantly manage yourself to deserve space somewhere, seat at the table. So, this week, Your future self wants you to try something new. Walk into one conversation without rehearsing yourself first, without over managing your tone, without calculating every reaction, without shrinking before the moment even begins. Just let yourself arrive fully and notice how different that feels. Now we are moving on to pile two, the star. This message feels incredibly important because your future self keeps showing me someone standing at the edge of their own life, waiting to feel ready enough to enter it. It's kind of like standing on the beach and you're really close to the waves and you're about to step in, but you're technically not in and you're not really touching the water, kind of like that. And she's smiling a little while she shows me this because she understands exactly why you've been waiting. You thought confidence would arrive first, that one day you would suddenly wake up feeling prepared, certain, fully healed, fully secure, fully ready to become the version of yourself that you keep imagining. That's not actually how it happens. Your future self says that she spent a long time waiting for a feeling that only came after she started moving, after the action. That changed a lot of things for her because one day she realized the confidence was never hiding in the waiting. It was built through action, through awkward beginnings, through showing up nervous, through doing things before she fully believed in herself. And honestly, I think this pile needed that reminder pretty badly. You are not behind because you still feel uncertain. You are human. And most people that you admire, they were scared too. They just stopped treating fear like it meant don't go or don't do that. Your future self says something shifted when she stopped asking, what if I fail? And started asking, what if this version of me never fully lives? What if I don't fully live? That question changed her life because she realized waiting forever also has consequences. You can lose years in hesitation. You can completely miss opportunities, years in preparation mode, years trying to emotionally arrive somewhere before you let yourself even begin. But your future self wants you to know something really gently. The version of you that you're trying to become, she is not waiting at the finish line. She is built through process itself. She is built during the marathon, not once you've finished the marathon. You meet her while you're doing the thing, while speaking up, while trying again, while showing up imperfectly, while risking being seen, being heard. That's where your future self lives, not in the hallway outside of your life, inside of it. And I think your future self really wants you to stop treating your current self like she's separate from the future version. You are already her, just in the earlier stages. That's why you can feel her at all. So this week, do one thing differently. Not as the version of you who is still doubting herself, but as the version of you who already knows she belongs in the room, at the table. Even if your voice shakes a little bit while doing it, and especially then. All right, now we're going to go on to pile three, the candle. Pile three, your future self feels very calm here, very clear. And the message she keeps repeating is you are spending too much energy trying to be understood by people who already decided not to understand you. You are pouring so much of yourself into others who are already deciding to misunderstand you, to not see eye to eye. And she knows that hurts because you're not trying to explain yourself out of ego. I think you're trying because part of you genuinely believes that if I can just explain this the right way, they'll finally see me correctly. They'll finally understand me. But your future self says that belief kept her emotionally trapped for much longer than she realized. Because some people are not confused about you. They simply prefer the version of you that they've already created in their own mind. Their made up version of you. And every explanation that you give threatens their version of you. So they resist it. Not because your words are unclear, not because they don't understand the words that you're speaking, but because they're changing their perception of you would require changing something inside of themselves too. And they're not ready for that. Your future self says this realization was strangely freeing, painful at first, but freeing because she stopped wasting emotional energy trying to force herself into other people's understanding, into other people's little boxes. And instead, she started turning toward the people who understood her naturally, the people who didn't require constant explaining, the people who listened without needing convincing, the people who made being yourself feel easy. She found her people. And once she experienced that, she realized how exhausting the other dynamic was. It's extremely exhausting. I think some of you in this pile have normalized emotional over explaining. And if you're like me and you have ADHD, we tend to over explain a whole lot. Like you feel responsible for making sure that everybody fully understands your intentions, your feelings, your heart, your perspective. You don't want to hurt anybody. You want to make sure you're not offending anybody. But your future self wants you to hear this very clearly. You are allowed to stop chasing understanding where there is no openness to receive it. You're allowed to stop chasing it. That's not giving up, that's discernment. And honestly, the more energy you stop pouring into people committed to misunderstanding you, the more energy becomes available for your actual life, for your own experiences, for your own joy, for your own happiness, for your peace, for your creativity, for your relationships, your healing, and your future. So this week, your future self wants you to notice something. Where are you repeating yourself emotionally? Where are you stuck in loops trying to earn understanding that should not require this much work? And just for a few days, stop. Stop trying to convince. Stop trying to over clarify. Stop trying to over explain. Stop trying to emotionally drag people toward empathy. And notice how much energy returns to you when you finally stop chasing what was never meeting you halfway. Your future self didn't bring these messages because she's judging you, whether that's pile one, two, or three. And honestly, she feels incredibly compassionate toward this version of you listening right now because she remembers exactly what it felt like to live inside these patterns, to shrink, to wait, to over explain. She remembers, and I think that's why these messages feel so direct. Not because she's angry at you, because she knows how much life opened up for her once she stopped abandoning herself in these ways. So, take what resonated and leave what didn't. And maybe carry one question with you after this reading. What would change in my life if I stopped treating myself like someone who needs permission to fully exist? What would change when I stopped requesting when I stopped requiring permission from others. Your future self already knows that answer, and slowly you are becoming her. Until next time, stay magnetic, friends.